Good day everyone. In today's lecture, we'll be discussing about a single phase full wave converter. We'll be discussing the operation with continuous current and with discontinuous current. We'll also discuss how a full wave converter will operate in rectification mode and in inversion mode. Then further we'll discuss about a single phase semi converter. Now in semi converter as well we'll discuss with continuous current and discontinuous current. Then we'll discuss about the two circuits of a semi converter, that is a symmetrical semi converter and an asymmetrical semi converter. What are the similarities and differences between these two type of semi converters? Let us start with a single phase full wave converter. Now in full wave converter we have two different configurations, that is one is my midpoint configuration and one is my bridge configuration. So whenever I am using midpoint configuration, in my midpoint configuration I will be having two SCRs I will be having, and in my bridge configuration I will be having two SCRs I will be having. The first circuit that we are going to discuss is a single phase full wave midpoint converter. Now here we can see that I am having a transformer. In the secondary of my transformer, a tapping is there, a center tap transformer I am using. Now the turns ratio of this center tap transformer, that is both the secondaries, the turns ratio of, let us consider this to be the first part of the secondary and the second part of the secondary, the turns ratio of both the secondaries will be equal to 1. Now here I can, from this I can clearly make out that the VAN is equal to minus of VBN. Why? Because this is my plus, this is minus, and this is going to be my plus and this is minus, because if I am giving a supply voltage, so if I am taking output across AN and NB, I will be having similar supplies, but here we can see that as BN it is reverse, so AN and BN both are having the opposite currents will flow. Now here we can see that because of this I can get my output which is continuous in nature. So as in my previous case when I was talking about a half wave converter, for one thyristor it was conducting for one positive cycle. Now here what I have done is I am using two converters, two SCRs. One SCR will operate for my positive cycle and one SCR will operate for my negative cycle. Now let us look at the operation of this circuit. Now here we can clearly make out that this is my supply. The supply voltage is sinusoidal in nature, so I am having a sinusoidal nature, but as we can clearly make out here, for example, the current will flow in this manner here and the current will flow in this manner here. So clearly I can make out, that is, if this thyristor has to be forward biased, the supply here has to be minus plus. Here I will get a minus, here I will get a plus. During that duration, here a minus, here a plus. So at that duration this will turn off, this will turn on. So we can see that it is almost a sort of anti-parallel, that is when there is a positive, when I am having a positive half, at that time this thyristor, it will have a negative half experienced across it. When this is having a negative half, this will have a positive half, that is from the, as I have clearly said, VAN is equal to minus VBN because of the configuration in which manner my T1 and T2 are connected. So dotted line it represents VBN and the dark line it represents VAN. Now here we can see that when my duration is 0 degree, at 0 degree my thyristor T1 will get forward bias. So as I have said, it is only forward bias, it is not turned on. At alpha my thyristor T1 will turn on. So when my thyristor T1 is turning on, it will conduct up to pi. At pi, the load, here we can see that the load is RL load. So in RL load what will happen? L will charge and L will discharge. L will discharge from the duration pi to pi plus alpha or up to beta, that is depending on what type of what the value, how much charge a inductor can store. Now here we can see that at pi my thyristor T1 becomes reverse biased, and from pi to pi plus alpha the current due to my inductor flows. The current, because of my inductor, there is discharging of my inductor and I am getting this portion in the negative half. then I can see that at T1, that is at pi, my T1 was reverse bias. At the same duration, my thyristor T2 will become forward bias. But thyristor T2 is not conducting. Thyristor T2 will conduct at pi plus alpha. At pi plus alpha, when I am giving a firing pulse, my thyristor T2 will start conducting and it will conduct up to 2 pi. Up to 2 pi, thyristor T2 will conduct, and as 2 pi reaches, we can see that this becomes thyristor T2 becomes reverse bias, and during this duration inductor was charged. Inductor will again discharge and I'll get a small portion in my negative half portion. Now, so here we can clearly see that my inductor discharges from pi to pi plus alpha and from 2 pi to 2 pi plus alpha. In this duration, my inductor is discharging. Clearly it can be seen about the discharge of my inductor. Now moving further, let us find out the average V0. V0, how to find out V0? I have to check for what duration. So here we can see that I'll be considering only a half cycle I'll be considering, because the waveforms are going to repeat, because this is a full wave rectifier. So here I can clearly make out my thyristor is conducting from alpha to pi plus alpha. So my limit will be alpha to pi plus alpha Vs. Vs is nothing but Vm sine omega t into d omega t. So when I am integrating this, I will get 2 Vm by pi cos alpha. So we know that if I found out the value of V0, I can easily find out all the other values. The circuit turn off time, I can clearly make out from here that the my SCR is reverse biased from my SCR is reverse bias from. Now for example, if T1, if I am if I am considering T1, I can clearly make out that 2 pi. At this duration, my SCR is again T1. If I am considering T1 at 2 pi, it is again forward biased, and I can clearly make out at this duration it is turning off. So I can write this to be 2 pi minus pi plus alpha by omega, which I'll get to be pi minus alpha by omega. The circuit turn off time is nothing but pi minus alpha by omega seconds. So this is the operation of a midpoint configuration. All the other things, as I've said, the maximum, if I look, the maximum is current is lagging the voltage, then VT1 is nothing but Vs minus V0 only for this portions. That is for the portions when my thyristor T1 is conducting. Then for finding out this, I have to do Vs minus V0 for the negative half, or for the negative cycles where my thyristor is conducting. Now moving further, we'll just look into bridge configuration. Bridge configuration and midpoint configurations both are used for full wave converters. Now here we can see that here I am using 4 SCRs I am using, that is for positive cycle 2 SCR will conduct, and for negative cycle as well 2 SCR will conduct. So here looking at the naming, we can clearly make it out T1, T2, T3, T4. So we can clearly make out in positive half cycle T1, T2 will conduct. T1, T2 will conduct. In negative half cycle T3, T4 will conduct. Now looking at this, clearly we can say that, let us directly go into the operation, because we will not deal much with the what all components are connected, how they are connected. Let us go to the waveform. Now looking at the waveform, clearly we know what is theta 1. In the previous lecture we have discussed about theta 1. So if my firing angle is greater than theta 1, then only my firing angle has to be greater than theta 1. So if my firing angle is greater than theta 1, then only my SCR will conduct. All these things we have discussed when we are discussing about single phase half wave converters. So here we can see that at omega t is equal to 0, my thyristor T1 and T2 will become forward biased. Then it is not turning on, it will turn on at alpha. At T1 and T2 will turn on at alpha duration. Then we can make out that when pi is reached, they are turning on, T1 and T2, T1 and T2 is turning on at alpha. When pi is reached, T1 and T2 are reverse biased, but at the same duration T3 and T4 will become forward biased. So here we can see that from pi to pi plus alpha, a small negative portion we are getting. Why I am getting a small negative portion? It is because of the discharge of the inductor. The inductor is discharging, therefore I am getting a small negative portion. I'll be getting. Then we can see that at pi plus alpha, my thyristor T3 and T4 will turn on because they will be getting a triggering pulse. They will be getting, again this will continue. At 2 pi, this will become reverse bias, that is T3 and T4 will become reverse bias. This small portion I am getting, it is because of the discharge of my inductor. Now here we can, to find out V naught, what I have to do is, I will integrate over a period alpha to pi plus alpha, because if I am considering this half cycle, for my half cycle, my thyristor is conducting from alpha to pi plus alpha. So pi plus alpha into Vs sin omega t. Sorry, Vs into d omega t. When I am integrating that, I will get a value to be 2 Vm by pi cos alpha. Now if we look at the expressions that we are getting for midpoint converter and for bridge converter, both are almost same. Now when I am talking about my full converters, there are two different modes of operation. That is, when my firing pulse is less than 90 degree, it works like a converter, and when the firing pulse is greater than 90 degree, it behaves like a line commutated inverter. So now let us look at this waveform. This waveform is for when the value of alpha is less than 90 degree. Now if the value of alpha is becoming greater than 90 degree, what will happen? Let us look. If the value of alpha is becoming greater than 90 degree, so when I am considering this, here one thing I have to ensure is that if I want to operate my converter as an inverter or a line commutated inverter, this E I have to reverse it. That is, it will be connected in this manner. The E has to be reversed. Now the polarity of E has to be reversed. The polarity of E is reversed so that some power can be fed back to the AC supply. Now E is nothing but the counter EMF or the back EMF of a DC motor. Now we know that when the firing angle is greater than 90 degree, it is called as a line commutated inverter, and it is used for regenerative braking mode of a DC motor. Let us look at the waveform. Now this is 90 degree, greater than 90 degree. I can see here that let me consider this is my firing angle. Now for this I can see that from alpha to pi, my thyristor is on and I am getting this waveform. I am getting it's clearly I can see that this waveform I am getting, that because of my thyristor is turned on. But if I look further, this is minus E, this is my 0 axis. So I will get a waveform from here to here. Only a small portion of my waveform I am getting. And then I can see that from pi to pi plus alpha, my inductor is discharging. Then again at pi plus alpha, my thyristor T3 and T4 are turning on. So here we can clearly see that the average, if I take out the average voltage, it is going to be in the opposite direction. So I can clearly see that it is working like a, that is from the battery to the AC supply, current is fed, so it is working like a inverter. Now one question will be arised, then how this output current is staying positive? The output current is staying positive because the thyristor has to be turned on. If the thyristor is on, then only this operation is possible. So the direction of current is the current is flowing through the thyristor. That is why I am getting a positive I naught the output current to be positive. VT1, as earlier we know that Vs minus V0, if I am doing, I get VT1. So this was the second case. Two cases we have discussed for a bridge converter. For the midpoint converter also the same thing will happen. That is, if alpha is less than 90 degree, it is working like a converter, that is current will flow in this direction. Then if alpha is greater than 90 degree, the flow of currents will be reversed. Why it will be reversed? Because from the load to AC supply there is a flow of power. Now if the full converter that I am using, if it is having discontinuous current. Discontinuous current is nothing but the value of L that is connected will be very small. As this is very small, this cannot charge more amount of energy. As this cannot charge more amount of energy, it will discharge earlier. That is, before a firing pulse is given for the next cycle, before a firing pulse is given, before this itself, my inductor will discharge completely. Therefore, I will get discontinuous current operation. Now let us look at the discontinuous current operation. Now in discontinuous current operation, we have two periods. One is conduction period and one is ideal period. Now let us discuss. Now what will happen if the angle is 0? I am talking about a full wave converter using a bridge configuration. Then my T1 and T2 will be forward biased, as we all know, but it will not start conducting. It will start conducting only at alpha. At alpha, T1 and T2 will be on. Then we can see that at pi, at this duration pi, my T1 and T2 are reverse bias and it will turn on. At the same duration, T3 and T4 will turn on. We know about this, but it will be forward bias. It will not turn on. It will be forward bias. Then we can see that from the duration pi to beta, inductor L will discharge, and then we can see that from beta to pi plus alpha, a small duration is there. In this duration, the battery that is connected, it will supply a output. The battery that is connected, it will supply a output. No other devices will function. Now the duration from beta to pi plus alpha is called as my idle period. Why? Because no device or no current is flowing, only the current because of the battery connected in the output we are getting. That is why we call it as the idle period. And from here to here we call it as the commutation period. That is from alpha to pi plus beta, we call it as the conduction period. From alpha to pi plus beta, we call it as the conduction period. So in the previous waveforms, if we look, we can clearly see that we get the negative portion up to this duration, then it will continue again for the second cycle. But here it is discharging before the second cycle is beginning. From clearly we can see here that it is discharging before the second cycle is beginning. So a small duration is there where there is no current flow. The current flow is only because of the battery connected in the EMF. So we no SCR is conducting in this duration. So this is called as my idle period, and the other duration is called as my conduction period. Now why we are getting discontinuous current operation? The discontinuous current operation we are getting if the value of inductor is so small, that is before the firing pulse is applied, it completely discharges. Then we will be moving on to the next portion, that is single phase semi converters. So semi converters is nothing but, in the bridge converter what we did was we had 4 SCRs. Now in place of 4 SCRs, if we use 2 diodes and 2 SCRs, we will get the similar operation, but the cost will be reduced. How the cost will be reduced? Here we have to invest in 4 SCRs. Here we just need 2 SCRs. As we are having only 2 SCR, for firing pulse only 2 firing pulses are required. Here 4 firing pulses are required. The complexity is reduced and many more advantages we have. So for achieving that, what we are doing is we are going for a semi converter. Now in semi converter, here we can see that two SCRs are there, two diodes are there and one freewheeling diode is there. So as we have already discussed, freewheeling diode is nothing but it provides a path for the current that is stored in the load to discharge. Now moving further to the waveform of a single phase semi converter, we can see that when the at omega t is equal to 0, my thyristor T1 is forward biased. Now when thyristor T1 is forward biased, it is quite obvious that D1 will also be forward biased, as no firing pulse has to be given to D1. D1 will be on but T1 is not on. T1 will turn on at omega t is equal to alpha. When T1 is on, then only my circuit will be complete. Now for example, it is like two switches are connected. This is the path that my circuit is following. This switch is on, but unless and until this is not on, as this is a series connection, unless and until this is not on, no conduction I'll be getting. So from this it is quite clear that from alpha a conduction is taking place up to pi. Now we know that as I am having a freewheeling diode, what will happen? This freewheeling diode will take over, and because of this freewheeling diode, from the waveform we can clearly see that during this duration, the freewheeling diode will take over and there will be no negative peak. That is because of the inductor discharge, it will not happen and I will not get a small negative portion during this duration. Then again we can see that at pi what will happen? Thyristor T1 and D1 will become reverse bias, but at the same duration T2 and D2 will become forward bias. D2 will turn on, T2 will not turn on. At pi plus alpha, T2 will turn on. So from there the second half I can get. Now from this I can clearly make out from pi to pi plus alpha and from 2 pi to 2 pi plus alpha, my freewheeling diode is conducting. In these two durations, my freewheeling diode is conducting. In all the other durations, I can clearly see that my thyristors are conducting. Now from this I can clearly make out my thyristor is conducting from alpha to pi. Now to find out V0, what I can do is I can write V0 is equal to 1 by pi integral of alpha to pi Vs d omega t. When I am solving that, I get Vm by pi 1 plus cos alpha. Now in the case of full wave converters, I was getting the value to be 2 Vm by pi cos alpha. Now here I am getting the value to be Vm by pi 1 plus cos alpha. Here also the circuit turn off time is the same, pi minus alpha by omega seconds. The circuit turn off time also I'll be getting it. I'll also be getting it to be the same. How? Because clearly we can make out that is from pi to pi plus this duration, my that is circuit turn off time is nothing but the duration where my SCR is reverse bias. So from here I can clearly make out that for this duration my SCR is reverse biased. From here, it is reverse biased from here to this duration, that is 2 pi minus pi plus alpha. During this duration it is reverse bias, so I will get pi minus alpha by omega as my circuit turn off time. So as I have said, circuit turn off time should always be greater than turn off time of a SCR. Now moving further, this is the operation of a semi converter with with discontinuous current. So discontinuous current we are directly getting. We are getting discontinuous current because the value of inductor is very small. As the value of inductor is very small, this inductor will discharge directly. It will discharge. Now here, when I am talking about a semi converter with discontinuous current operation, I will have three modes. That is my conduction period, then my freewheeling period, and my idle period. Now let us look how this will operate. Now when omega t is equal to 0, T1 and D1 are forward biased. Then at alpha T1 is on, then I'll start getting the waveform at alpha. At alpha I'll start getting the waveform. Then at alpha I'll start getting the waveform. Then till pi, what will happen till pi? My T1 and D1 will get reverse bias, and at pi itself, at that same duration, we clearly know that my thyristor 2 and diode D2 will become forward biased. Now this duration from alpha to pi, this is called as my conduction period. Now let us move further. Moving further, I know that from pi to beta, my inductor has discharge. Now this is called as my freewheeling period. This is my conduction period. Then after the conduction of freewheeling diode has completed and before my firing pulse is given, a small period I am having where there is no device conducting. At that period we can clearly see that the EMF E will take over. Now this is called as my idle period. So I hope the discontinuous current operation is clear. Now moving further with semiconverters, we have two different configurations of semiconverter: symmetrical semiconverters and asymmetrical semiconverters. So in symmetrical this is the circuit diagram for symmetrical semiconverters. So in symmetrical semiconverters, we can see that in one leg, one thyristor and diode will be present. In both the legs, if I see, one thyristor, one diode is present. So we call it as to be symmetrical semiconverters. Then we have asymmetrical semiconverters. So here we can see that in one leg all SCRs are there, in one leg all diodes are there. So the configuration is asymmetrical, therefore we call it to be asymmetrical semiconverters. Now let us look into the operation of symmetrical and asymmetrical semiconverters. So this is the waveform for symmetrical semiconverter. Now here we can see that from 0 to alpha, this duration. Now let us leave this duration, we'll start with alpha. At alpha we can see that my thyristor T1 will turn on. So this is, I am talking about a symmetrical configuration. So at alpha T1 is turning on. So we can see that my circuit is completing using T1 D1. So at from alpha T1 till pi, T1 and D1 is conducting, and after that can clearly see that in the first duration from alpha this was conducting. After that at pi this is becoming reverse bias. So after that what will happen is this path will be followed. This path will be followed. Why this path will be followed? Because inductor has some stored energy. There is no freewheeling diode. Now it needs a path where this inductor can discharge. Now at this duration we can clearly see that T1 and D2 is conducting. Again at pi plus alpha it is clearly seen that T2 and D2 is conducting. Then for the freewheeling period T2 and D1 is conducting. Now looking at the same thing, let us look at the same thing for a asymmetrical configuration. In asymmetrical configuration we can see that the freewheeling period is taken over by D1 D2. The freewheeling period, this is the freewheeling period, it will get conduction in this manner. In the first half it will conduct in this manner. In the freewheeling duration D1 and D2 will take over and it will act like a freewheeling path. So here we can clearly see that the freewheeling path is thyristor and a diode. Here only diodes are there. T1 D1, here also T1 D1, that is from alpha to pi T1 D1 is conducting. From pi to pi plus alpha, here T1 D2 is conducting, here D1 D2 is conducting. Then again from pi plus alpha to 2 pi T2 D2 is conducting, here also T2 D2 is conducting. The next freewheeling period, here T2 D1 is conducting, here the similar D1 D2 only is conducting here. So this is the only difference. All the other waveforms that I am getting are almost similar for a symmetrical semiconverter and a asymmetrical semiconverter. For both this, the circuit turn of time turns out to be pi minus alpha by omega. So what we have seen here today is that in all the circuits that we have discussed, the circuit turn of time is pi minus alpha by omega seconds.